Hello investors and welcome to my YouTube channel where I study the best investors and businesses from around the world. Today we will be looking at how to learn faster and remember more. This has helped me in my investing journey and I hope it will do the same for you. In this video we will be looking at number 1, why we're bad at learning, number 2, two main sources of learning, and number 3, the 2 proven techniques for improving your learning. Understanding how you learn will help you train your brain to retain more knowledge and insight. Everything changes once you grasp the fundamentals of learning, from how you ask questions to how you consume information. People will mistakenly believe that you possess superhuman abilities. Learning is the process of instilling new facts, concepts, and skills in our minds. We begin learning while we are still in the womb, and we never stop. We are constantly acquiring new skills. Every new piece of information that we gain adds to what we already know, providing us with a more complete and detailed picture of the world. And the more developed our worldview is, the easier it is for us to adapt and pivot when our circumstances change. Adaptive organisms survive and thrive according to biology. Those who are unable to do so will eventually perish. In our personal and professional lives, this is also true. We've all worked with someone who hasn't kept up with the times. They appear to be moving backwards due to their unwillingness to stretch themselves to learn something new. Because we don't just passively absorb new ideas and information, people can become stuck with a fixed amount of knowledge. It takes active participation to learn something new. Learning is something that we do on a daily basis. What you think you know is the greatest adversary of learning. Learning something new requires you to change your mind. So it's easy to believe that there's no room for new ideas. However, your unwillingness to change your mind will keep you in that same spot. One of the biggest challenges in learning is overcoming our egos. As a result, the ability to admit when you're wrong and adjust your thinking will be the most beneficial factor in your learning. Recognizing your ignorance and deciding to do something about it is the first step towards learning. Thriving in life, I believe, requires constant lifelong learning. Things change quickly, and you can't rely on what you've learned previously. The best learning strategy is one that allows you to go to bed each night a little bit smarter. Why we're bad at learning. One of the reasons we struggle to learn is that we bring a lot of baggage with us. Baggage we often acquire early in life and struggle to let go of later. You can learn much more effectively if you can let go of perceived notions about what you should do. One major piece of baggage we accumulate is the belief that we are not learning unless we are visibly active. This isn't true. Learning necessitates reflection time. It necessitates talking about what you've learned and allowing your mind to wander. Instead of trying to look smart, you should concentrate on trying to be smart. We often have difficulty learning because we expect it to be simple. We'd all like to discover a magic bullet, a quick and painless way to pick up whatever we want and never forget it. Blog posts and courses on the internet might be promising that you can learn a language in a week, code in a month, or learn to play the violin overnight. This is all false. Knowing something for a day is not the same as learning. It's deep wisdom that enables you to create, innovate, and break new ground. Another reason we struggle to learn is that the modern world destroys our attention spans by conditioning us to be distracted at all times. It may feel good to check your phone for the latest notification, but learning requires intense concentration. New information can't fix itself in your mind when you're distracted. So you end up with gaps in your understanding. Focusing is an art, and you can develop systems that allow you to give your full attention to whatever you're learning through experimentation and creativity. When I say accelerated learning, I don't mean that you can avoid having to work hard. I mean that it is possible to find methods of learning that produce tangible results rather than methods that waste time and lead to nowhere. But no matter what, you must complete the task. Learning should be challenging, but that doesn't mean it can't also be enjoyable. In fact, it is when you push yourself to the limits of your abilities that you improve the most. The foundation of deliberate practice, the technique elite people in every field use to grow their expertise, is pushing yourself to a point where it feels challenging but doable. Where you learn the most is when you step outside of your intellectual comfort zone. As a result, having a lot of helpful advice early on can be counterproductive if it takes away the crucial struggle of learning new material. If you push yourself beyond your comfort zone, you may fail. In a new field, you could apply new knowledge incorrectly or misunderstand key points of an argument. This is excruciating. It also gives you the chance to learn from your mistakes. We all hate looking stupid, but you can't let failures stop you from trying to broaden your horizons. Let's begin with the two primary sources of learning. We can learn from two sources: our own experience in history and the experience of others. Exploring the differences between the two can help us figure out how to get the most out of each. Learning from history. By studying history and applying its lessons to the present, you can learn from the mistakes of others. Because history tends to repeat itself, many of the dilemmas and decisions that you face today have examples of something similar in the past. We can learn how to shape the future by studying the past, one of our most important sources of fundamental knowledge in history. Remember that knowledge collapses over time whenever you learn from the past. Much of what you think you know now will turn out to be false in the future. Just as much of what people thought a century or 50 years or even a decade ago has turned out to be false. Facts have a half-life, which can be particularly brief in fields such as medicine and social science. It's a mistake to believe that we reached the pinnacle of human knowledge or that anything you learn today will always be true. When you learn from history, you're drawing on lessons shaped by the point of view of a person who witnessed it. As a result, historical knowledge should be updated on a regular basis as you learn more about what happened and how to interpret it. Learning from experience and reflection. Direct experience, in addition to reading, is another important way to learn. Double loop learning is a technique for keeping your options and ideas up to date as new evidence and experience becomes available. Single loop learning occurs when you keep making the same mistakes. It won't get you very far. Double loop learning occurs when you reflect on your experiences, collect new data, and actively seek out feedback. Reflection allows you to transform your experiences into knowledge. Think about what you're doing and what you've done before you do. High performers adjust their strategies in response to both their successes and failures. Now, let's look into the third part of this video, the two proven techniques for improving your learning. Number one, the Feynman technique. The single most effective technique we've discovered for absorbing new contacts comes from physicist Richard Feynman, who won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1962. The Feynman technique guarantees that you comprehend what you've learned. It consists of 4 steps listed below. Number 1, choose a concept you wish to learn about. Number 2, pretend you are teaching it to a child and a 6th grader specifically. Write your explanation down and say it out loud. Number 3, identify any gaps in your understanding that might show up when you try to simplify the concept. Go back to the source material to find the information you need. Number 4, review and simplify your explanation again. It works because writing down a concept in a child-friendly language forces you to think about it more deeply. To hide what we don't understand, we sometimes use jargon and complicated language. The Feynman technique reveals the true scope of understanding. In the same way, asking better questions leads to faster learning. The most mundane questions, such as those posed by a sixth grader, can sometimes teach us the most because they necessitate a detailed explanation. Number 2, spaced repetition. Memorization by rote is ineffective. Period. Spaced repetition, a technique that works with your brain's natural retention of information rather than against it, is the key to effective learning. Revising information at increasing intervals is known as spaced repetition. This reflects and combats the fact that once you learn something, you gradually forget it, with rapid forgetting at first and then gradual forgetting. You remind yourself of information frequently at first, and then less frequently, using spaced repetition. Repeated exposure to new material leads to memory mastery. You must repeatedly retrieve information from memory in order to learn it. Retrieval is even more effective than re-exposure to original material in terms of retaining information. Thank you for watching this video through to the end. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Also, if you enjoyed this video, or you found it to be helpful in some way, then please remember to leave a like on it. This really helps my channel grow. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to make videos like this for you to enjoy.